So here we are again. We're still in chapter 18. We're now going to work on discharge of contracts. So since I'm wearing my yes, I thought I would play something used to break this up, since we do play guitar here. So, discharge contracts. The first thing you need to understand is, in this chapter, is that every contract in here exists. That there is a valid, enforceable contract. So when you read through this chapter, think to yourself, they're in a contract, they have contractual obligations. And the question becomes, how does one of the parties, or maybe both, discharge that obligation? Because they enter a contract, they have an obligation. Everybody has something, right, in the contract they have to do or pay or whatever the case may be, or, as you remember, forbearance, give up something. So keep in mind, as you look at all these ways that you can discharge your contractual obligation, that you have one already. And that's the basic assumption you need to understand in this chapter. Paul Simon had a song years ago called 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. Well, this is about 18 different ways to discharge your contract obligation. And the most important one, it's not given much attention in the book, is performance. And what I mean that is that in the vast majority of contracts, people do what they're supposed to do. That's how commerce works, that's how business works, that's how people's individual relations work. They do what they promise to do. And that has been very important in our economy and in commerce, is that you do what you're obligated to do. Sometimes it's more difficult than you planned on. Sometimes it's more arduous, more difficult. Sometimes you don't want to do it, but you know what? You gave your word, you are contractually bound, legally obligated, and you do it. And again, that goes to the whole economic idea of people doing what they're supposed to do in contracts, and the law favors them. In fact, in a lot of the commerce that we have in this country, and a lot of stuff that I've dealt with over the years, both when I worked in business before I went to law and with clients, etc., is that it's important to pick who you contract with. By that I mean is you don't just take the lowest bidder all the time. That is a poor idea, a poor way to have a successful business operation. Both your customers and your vendors, people who are selling to you, you select them because you need to count on them or rely upon them that they will come through. They will fulfill the contract. And this is very important. So this discharge, and there's a number of things in here, but by far the vast majority of all contract obligations are discharged by performance, by people who have selected who they're going to contract with, because it doesn't just matter on price. And please understand this. Price is not the determining factor in a lot of business contracts. It's important. We need to keep costs down. People try to keep their profit margins where they need to be. That's how business works. But they need to have somebody they can rely upon that will come through in the clutch, will come through when times get tough, and perform. So performance is actually the most important part of this chapter. It's just not emphasized at all. Thanks.